Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all. Meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all. I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. Yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again. So sweet again.
Check one. To show up. I can't get the intro music to play through OBS. I'm having some trouble here on this new setup, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome everybody to the show. I'm not outside today. I almost was. I was thinking that, we'll now that we've done all this work to set up the intro and credits and everything on the new system, we'll go ahead and do a new system show, because then everything will be great. Then you'll go outside. I probably should have gone outside. Welcome to the show, everybody. Let me know if there's any issues with audio or whatnot. I'd be happy to fix them, and I appreciate the bumps in the road as we move from one platform to another. It's like a giant game of Mario Kart, right? And all of us have an operating system, and we sometimes upgrade that operating system, and sometimes what we think is an upgrade is actually sort of a downgrade. So there you go. Man, fantastic night last night on Dojo Worth Radio. Esoteric Journeys was back as far as like on the channel itself. Just rip-roaring, fascinating talk. If you are looking for any kind of excuse at all to be even more upset by things that people are saying, you should watch that show. There was so... If you could not add up all the controversial topics that were thrown into this one 5-minute period and everybody handled it so smoothly. And when I say smoothly, I'm talking about the courage that was exerted by some people that had never been on the radio before, that were basically just like, no, man, here's how it went. Here's how it went. Our own Mared Moth has posted a link in the chat to that YouTube channel. Keep in mind that, sadly, actually, I don't know if it's sadly. I'm not sure if that's the link to their channel. If it is, that episode is probably not on their channel yet, because we did it really late last night, and we haven't had a chance to move it over. You'd actually have to go to Dojo Earth, but I think you should subscribe to that, because it was really good. It was really good. Ty Scott, Dojo Earth Radio is amazing. Yeah, it's some good stuff. Someone will post probably a Dojo Earth link in there too. Excuse me while I don't look at the camera long enough to move my eyes across this really wide screen so that I can go over here and figure out where's my Rockfin, guys. I gotta see my Rockfin. That's the chat with the action in it. Let me see here. Account. I had that open, but I started to kind of freak out when I couldn't get the audio to work, because it was like 2 minutes before showtime. And I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? But yeah, let me make sure I've got that open too. We had our AMA on Wednesday, and I've lost 100 subscribers. So thank you. I know that's what happens during the AMA. Many people said that they thought that it was childish that I was sitting down in front of a camera expressing how I felt. And some of those have unsubscribed. So if you haven't had a chance and you were looking for that, hey man, go for it. It's I've been unsubscribed more than I've been subscribed to. It's amazing that the numbers are positive, but I'm not going to stop. I think that it builds courage for me to say something that might make you uncomfortable, and for you to be able to like hear it. I think it actually might be a good exercise. And sometimes we hold each other accountable for things. And you being mad at me because I was holding someone else accountable that you happen to like, is maybe that's you being a little bitch. Maybe it's both of us being a bitch. Who knows, right? These are all things that we're here to encounter. We should challenge each other as much as we can. And I'm going to keep trying to do... I want to see if I can keep doing Ask Me Anything Wednesdays, and see if we can get down below 10,000 subscribers. That'll be our goal. So, but what we have left will be the finest tuned soldiers of consciousness that were ever went through a vision quest and became something taller than they were, which happened to be the very message of last night's show. We opened the show with some Nietzsche. Moved that into slavery itself, talked itself about victimhood and about man, bear, pig. Lots of talk about man, bear, pig. If you're not familiar with the philosophy of, thank you so much. It hasn't, thank you for that. I just saw that the Rockfin thing is acting up. Let me go over here. Thank you so much for that notice, guys. Again, I appreciate the patience as I get used to all this new systems here, but here it is. Brett Morgan, if you're still there, we're getting there, buddy. We're getting there. I'm waiting for it to allow me to hit go live. There, now I've hit go live. Yeah, the music thing really threw me off. Sup. I'm going to put sup in here. And then we'll see if everybody... Yeah, you guys should be good. Everything should be good now. Quality over quantity. That's an excellent way of putting it. Guys, this is a little bit more freewheeling kind of a show right now. There's been a lot happening. Not only is this move, but there's just a lot. The radio's taken up a lot. The office is taken up a lot. Lots of personal things that we're all moving through. Lots of shifting in the terrain. There's a lot going on. And so I don't have like a formal show for you today. That's another warning. That'll be the entire week today of just me kind of really not formally preparing something, with the exception of technical things like my computer and the setup and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes, but I definitely have a great show for you about, is government even open? We still have a lot of fascinating history about the historical aspects of vaccines. It's pretty amazing when you start to look at how close how that was birthed out of a church. Believe it or not, the first advocates for vaccination were clergy, and that persisted for about 100 years. It took a long, long time for anyone else to get behind that, from kind of like coming from a different avenue. It was birthed out of that, which was pretty interesting, you know. Interesting when you think about what that all means when you look. But again, this is just, well, look at history, you know. Hey, who am I to have an adult opinion about something that might even uh, uh, affect the health of the population? We all know that talking about the health of the population is dangerous, and we shouldn't do that. And this is the system that's here. This is what's happening. Grown ass men are not allowed to talk anymore about certain subjects without it being very very costly. Very costly. The entire concept of throttling is a technical word for censorship, and here it is. We're running that way, but we're not talking about that today. Today we are talking about truckers. Now, because my audio is not working, I'm going to have to do some fancy footwork here, because I'm going to have to hit play, but then stop, and I need you to be able to see it. I want to talk about truckers today. And this will probably be controversial too. In fact, I would say that the posse that I hang with, that I get to call my tribe, I think that my tribe is divided about this too. And so this might be an exercise for all them to be like, oh shit, I don't think I agree with that at all. And so let's do it, man. Let's have a healthy look at this. What I want to discuss is the great trucker. Is that it? Is that the right one? Let's see if this works. I'm going to have to keep that hidden for a sec so I can hit play and then real quick stop. Yeah, see, the sound works there, but my intro song doesn't. Now let's see if that works. Yeah, here we go. Alright, no audio. I don't want to get tagged. If you don't know what's happening, there is a trucker thing. Ottawa, Canada, a movement of sorts has formed, and people are driving across Canada, heading for the capital. Basically, it's a rolling protest. And when you see these things, you're going to see two main reactions. Actually, I guess you're going to see three reactions. You're going to see three reactions when you see this. Does that help if I move that? No, it doesn't. Let's see. I appreciate you guys bearing with me. Got to get used to all this window space, man. It's a big window over here. There we go. I need to be this way. They're doing the math when the camera's on is always interesting. They're driving across Canada, and you're seeing three reactions, I think, to this. And I don't mean to say that every reaction is exactly in this, but I'm seeing three different flavors of reaction. One is fuck yeah. Two is oh my God. Those anti-vaxxers, right? I don't actually see that, but it has to be out there. Oh, the anti-vaxxers are stupid. But then three is it's a psyop. It's a psyop. And these are the three sort of main ways that you could consider what this is. Is it one of those three things, right? Is it a psyop? Is it an organic movement? Or is it some sort of combination of both? And we live in a culture where we like things simple, right? We want to put things in a box and category, and we want to call that empathy even. We want to say, oh, well, you understand it because I was able to put it in a category, right? You're a progressive, and so progressives are stupid. And then you go like Jordan Peterson, well, he's a progressive, so, or he talks about, yeah, he's just stupid. It's this Mandela effect is living every day when you categorize things, right? That you choose the resolution that you want to burn to store something, and you place it in there. And good point. These are not anti-vaxxers. These are anti-vax mandates. Thank you. There's a very good correction. That was just me speaking wrong about that. Although we're sure that there's probably are some anti-vaxxers in there, but you're right. This is anti-mandate. This actually starts to carve the turkey a little bit. You're starting to see the actual meat of what's inside this. At first, your first look could be just the pure organic nature of this, and you could say that QAnon had the same thing, right? Which is that, oh my God, the truth is coming out because the secret good state is fighting the secret deep state, and the two are fighting each other. But the state overall is a good thing, and what we have is simply a deep state, a bad crusty layer that's inside it. And once we pull that tumor out, then government is good again. And so everyone who wants to believe that government is good would find QAnon to be an organic, pure movement. You follow what I'm saying? It would feel good to them, and they would feel great about it. Then you have jerks like me that are like, oh, but this whole thing's a psyop. This whole thing's fake. This whole thing's ridiculous. Blah blah blah. Oh, it's in this and Steve Bannon, and here's QAnon, and there's this network called the OAN network, and Jack Posobiec, and both these are actually divisions of the military. Working under Smith Moon that are allowed to influence you, but then they're like, yeah, but Jack makes good tweets, so fuck you, and the ball starts. I personally start to learn what the truth movement is, but more importantly, more deeper, how humans work. Right? I learn how humans work when I see that, and I'm going to turn this off now, just so I can scooch over here so I can. Talk to you more. When I start to unpeel with QAnon, what I was really doing was learning how humans work. But I was upset about it because not everybody agreed with me. Not everybody had what I was considering objective, rational thought about it. I was labeling how I viewed it as, well, here's the rational truth of it is. The Smith-Moon Act was passed here. Here's Jack Posobiec in the Naval Warfare Media Intelligence Division. Here's photographs of him. Here's everyone who owns OAN. Here's their connection to Breitbart. Steve Bannon, CEO of Trump's campaign, yada, 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 right? All the details that I could possibly imagine were displayed. I was posting those, and they were rejected every time. Oh, you suck, man. You suck. You suck. This is an organic thing. And it put me where I am now. It put me in a different psychology of what I see and how it goes down. My compassion has grown as I let go of that insistence that I held on to an objective reality that no one else had, or it wasn't accurate enough. And by releasing that grip, I end up more comfortable, and I'm able to see more. And now we cue the trucker strike. And now we look at, when I say we, I mean you're riding along inside my vehicle right now. I picked you up in a gas station. I look sketchy to you, but you just needed to get home. And so I gave you a ride. Now you're in the ride, and now I'm telling you what this is like, right? That what I'm seeing now is the QAnon movement in a truck, in the exact same fractal menagerie of truth is right here. And I just want you to see it too. That's all. I just want you to see it. The first thing I want you to see is that there is an organic layer here, that the energy is clean from people who are tired of what's going on, and that many people participating in that have that. Let me make sure that doesn't start. And then deeper, you could look at the Psyop, the Psyop surrounding it. You can start to compare things. You can come online and say, The trucker thing is a psyop, and all it's going to do is lead to worse conditions. That the entire thing was designed to lead us to worse conditions. Oh my God, we are trapped. Oh my God, twist my nipples harder, baby. Twist my nipples harder. And that's a logical way of looking at it. There's some enjoyment in there. You get to feel the sexy feeling of being a slave and a victim, of knowing that all movements that are happening outside of you are what's called evil, and that you've been placed in this cage and you're fighting for your life, and it's their Thunderdome. It's great. And you don't have to do anything, because if there was any kind of organic movement at all, you would simply say, well, that's a psyop. And when you go out and tell everyone else the trucker system is a psyop, you're doing what I was doing with QAnon, which is telling everybody QAnon is a psyop. And you end up standing in the face of a wave, trying to maintain who you are. And this is a beautiful exercise. I recommend it for all of you. I recommend it for all of you. And I just want you to know that it's going to hurt. You're going to feel the salt in that water. It's going to rub you hard, because it's just a sheer force. The witness of humanity is a force. And it will be pushing against you as you are pushing against that wave as it comes. And strife is not, you and I are on a level where you haven't unsubscribed yet, which means that you know that strife is not something that you need to shy away from. That having intellectual or psychological strife about a topic even is something that you look forward to. It's a kind of a class that we're attending, where we want to work out, where we want to that's funny, Nate. Where we want to work out, where we want to exercise our compassion muscles, not to approve, not to consent, right? But to deeply understand what's going on. And I find myself in a bright new place, because I'm back now again around to the other side. I'm back now around to the other side where I, before this started, for whatever strange reason, before this was even a thing on the news, I was actually tweeting about how truckers were the last people, were the first people to see through the psyop. What I mean by that is that if you've paid attention to my tweets and writing, I've been very clear that doctors, nurses, lawyers, politicians, military, that anyone in a uniform has failed humanity miserably. I mean miserably. Like the most horrible kind of failure you could have has been doctors, nurses, veterans, politicians, anyone in the military. It's true. And I've explained to you that it's not because there's rottenness to the core. I've explained to you that when you put on a uniform, when you ingest the fashion of something larger, you abandon yourself, and that you turn into something that is there to regurgitate. You're there to follow a procedure. These are proceduralists. And I was always noting that, not like every day, but it just was ironic that this happened to happen, that I was pointing out that truckers haven't done that there's a lot of truckers that are speaking out saying this shit's bullshit, and boom, now this thing's running. And I find myself defending the organic nature of the trucker convoy simply because organically, James personally compassionated what it was like to be a trucker, and I saw a genuine organic resistance that was built in. And truckers don't wear uniforms. They don't. Truckers dress themselves. They're in charge of their cabs. They're in charge of their rigs. A lot of truckers own their rigs. These are the mobile philosophers of life, whether you want to admit it or not. A trucker, without knowing it, had a deeper urge genetically to live the life of a wandering wise man. And that the only way in the modern world a trucker could do that is by being a trucker. The only way the modern shaman could do that is to have a job that allows him the space, the canvas, the mental landscape to think. And while he was thinking, there's not a uniform causing him to regurgitate. Yes, Shitmoth, they are sovereign. These are sovereign beings. And so when I see that finally someone has stepped up to the front lines and that they're driving an 18-wheeler, I see what I've just been knowing has been here the whole time, but we just hadn't figured out which group it was yet. That's what I saw. And so when I'm seeing this, I want to help. I want to push this. I want it to go, yes, this is awesome. But the entire time, as I'm now behind the wave, riding the joy of seeing this come, I am running into people that are me, but now on this other vista, as they're claiming QAnon is a psyop, as they're saying this trucker thing is a psyop. And so, if you believe in objective reality, if you're into that thing, then all you'll be able to do is call me a hypocrite, because I'm showing you the compassion from the other side right now. But I may not be able to show you the compassion from the other side without you thinking that I'm trying to tell you that this side is correct and this side is not. I'm simply showing you, look at all the buttons you can push from this side, and then look at all the buttons you can push from this side. Look at how much torque comes from this transmission, and look how much torque comes from this transmission. And this truly is the American philosophy, the idea that utilitarianism, that what we're calling true is really just practically what works. What generates the best utility is what is true, not what is objectively decided by a majority of people in a lab coat. That no, what is aesthetically, objectively working in the system that has the most torque. Not truth, but torque. What can be repeated the most? Now, we're calling this a scientific method, but if you actually look at what we practice, we don't practice that because there's a clergy, right, of white lab coats that have to tell you what that objective truth was. And right now, if you try and reproduce those, this is why over half the lab experiments that have been recorded in scientific journals and no one's disagreed with, that they've run independently. They did another lab experiment where they tried to reproduce the results of all the previous lab experiments that had ever been done, and less than half were even reproducible. Less than half even had the same results to them. And the reason why this happens is because of the clergy. This is a regurgitation system. A trucker cannot regurgitate because a trucker spends too much time in the cab of their own mind. They spend too much time in the cab of their own mind with the open road to allow their vista to unwind. That even the job they have provides them with a necessity that you are going to have to paint the landscape of your mind while you're driving. You're going to have to. And that requires them to be more comfortable inside themselves than a doctor or a lawyer or a nurse. They're more comfortable inside their head out of necessity, right? Out of necessity. It would literally drive them nuts if they were constantly trying to maintain that line. You would not survive in that job if you did not have some sense of sovereignty, is what I'm trying to say. It would be mental anguish. It would be a special kind of torture, and you would not be in that field. You would not. The trucker is the sage. And can sages be fooled? Absolutely. Of course they can. They can be misguided, all kinds of stuff. They can make all kinds of terrible, what you and I would call errors. And even you and I would have to admit, but inside the truck, inside them, it might not look like an error. And this could be one of those. It could be. And the people that I'm seeing that are standing in front of the wave, some of them are people I really respect, are like, this is a psyop, this is a psyop. I am not disagreeing. I am not. But I'm also saying that now, thanks to you being here and me being outside of where I was before and me being able to look, I'm now seeing something new, which is that I want to ask anyone who's saying this is a psyop, what does an organic movement look like? Is there something as an organic movement that would not have psyops attached to it? And on the other hand, could a psyop-induced organic movement, could a psyop-induced movement still have an organic force to it that could be used for good? Is that possible? And if it's not, even if it isn't, but what is the proper way to change? Right? And I ask myself this too. I do. I'm asking myself this every hour with Joe Rogan. He's really doing a good fucking workout on my compassion. Because the jackass still wants a PCR test. He still thinks that's valid. And he's talking to Jordan Peterson, and both of them are vaccinated. And both of them are the mouthpiece of the anti-vax movement. That is very uncomfortable to me. I don't like that at all. And I find myself pushing against the same wave with QAnon. But on the trucker side now, I'm on the other side. And I'm like, why are you fucking up this perfect wave, dude? Why are you doing it? And the answer is because of trauma. The answer is threefold, though. Because it's not just about trauma. Because one thing that I see all the time, especially on Twitter, is the propensity for slavery. What I see all the time on Twitter is people under the impression that if they bitch about the system, that they're somehow not complying with it. But my friends, when you bitch about the system, you are complying the most. You are, because you're literally saying, look, I'm going to do this. And I want you to know that I'm upset, and I want you to know that I'm going to do it. That I'm still going to comply. Bitching about the system makes the system stronger, not weaker. And the more clever we are about bitching about the system, that means the more we are providing utility, plumbing for the system. It requires some thinking, that point does. But you have to picture that when you are a parent and you want your kid to put his shoes on, when your kid starts to complain and grumble about him putting his shoes on, you've won the battle. You know you've won the battle. It makes you feel better when he's grumbling and putting the shoes on, because your mind has now moved on to, where are my keys? Can't be late. Got to remember the brownies. Have to do this, have to do that. The grumbling actually allows you to move on, because you know, oh good, they're just going to grumble about it. Thank God. Oh, thank God, they're just going to bitch about it. And when you look at a platform such as Twitter, you're seeing both. You're seeing an organic movement that causes change, and you're seeing a release valve that props up the system. You're seeing both. It does both. And that's how high magic works. That's how political control works. Is that the way that I will control the system is by providing the avenue for everyone to bitch about it. That when you are checking out of the grocery store and you see there's always the magazines that take up a lot of real estate. There's always these magazines that say the Queen is a reptilian. Joe Biden's bat child was born. And you're seeing these National Enquirer type stories, and you may not know that not only is the real estate right in front of the checkout the most expensive real estate in a grocery store, but that the square footage and area that it takes to show you the entire cover of the magazine itself is prime expensive real estate. And if you just do the math and you know how many people actually buy those magazines, and you actually sit back and go, well, let's do that. Holy fuck. That's not profitable at all. There are 6 magazines on this rack. Each of them are $1.75. So even if they sold all these magazines, there's only 6 of them. Look at the price point here. Meanwhile, here's Tic Tac, the smallest container that's possible that's right here. And there's 70 of them. 70 of them that are for sale, that are ready for you to grab them in an impulse. And you start to look at, there's an entire economy, there's an entire system here where conglomerates are buying real estate that they know is not profitable monetarily. And that if you look into the contracts, I'm sorry I don't have the details on this. I did a live stream about this about a year ago where we actually talked more about this in detail. But that, believe it or not, the magazine racks that have the People magazine and the Newsweeks and the National Enquirer, that those are actually government-owned contracts. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to find, it'll be like NAST Publishing. It'll be something like that. But that those contracts are secured not for profitability, but for exposure. If you don't believe me, you can Google right now CNN's contract at airports in the mall. That most of the viewership of CNN is forced viewership. It's forced because it's piped into places. It's not about it being profitable. It's about having a reach. It's about having a fashion tentacle where you can touch something, meaning the mind. A trucker doesn't have that. A trucker's alone in his mind. A trucker does not have that same sort of exposure. It just comes with the job. It's just part of it. But in the grocery store, it's a different story. On your television, it's a different story, right? Even someone like me who's censored by not being able to say things without it hurting really bad. All of these things are the same beast. This is the Psyop that I'm telling you that I believe that you see and that I know is there. I'm telling you that I know it's there. I'm telling you that. But I'm also telling you that Psyop makes you feel better because it allows us to sit on our ass and say, the trucker thing is a Psyop. QAnon is a Psyop. Joe Rogan is a Psyop. All of those things are true, but also all of those things are organic. It requires a multifarious compassion because you're going to have to take your plasma and squeak it out of your body and put it over here. And then you're also going to have to take your plasma and squeak it out of your body and put it over here. And you're going to have to compassionate both sides. Yeah, only if you can afford it, you're going to want to compassionate both sides here. And I wanted to give you some advice if you find yourself doing this. The advice that I wanted to give you is that I want you to simply look at the thermodynamics of the equation and try not to be so involved in, yes, but the oil and the water, which parts are still oil when they're mixed, which parts are still water, and to stop trying to dissect a liquid that you're going to be pulling with chopsticks in the water, trying to grab the oil out, trying to separate it in that way. And I think you'll find that it's futile, but it's emotionally reaffirming. What does that mean? That the truth of the matter is that how you feel about the trucker psyop is more deeply reflected in how you feel personally. That if you were looking for a thermodynamic vent to feel unity, to feel organic unity and grassroots movement and progress and change, if you wanted to express that, right? If that was the song that was on your mind before you picked up the bass and started thumping some beats down, that's what would naturally come out of you. And if you were in a dissecting mood of saying the system is a psyop, the system is a psyop, that you would do the same, that you would plasminate from this and this, depending on what you were truly seeking inside you. And that if you're able to do this, this is, in my opinion, a very advanced exercise, because you have to let go of the haunches of right and wrong. That sphincter squeeze where you say, I am right and everyone else is wrong, you have to let that go so you can start to see which side is which. How does this work? How are neither one of these sides really even important? How is the thermodynamic equation that's unfolding, how is that going to be something? I bring this up because if you go on Twitter and you say, hey, I think you and I should create a barter currency that no one can fuck with and that we don't have to pay taxes on, that you and I can simply live a separate life where we're outside of the world of money, and that because you live across the country from me, this barter system is just digital. That's all. And that when I tell you that, most of the response that you get from a certain person that feels a certain way is, yeah, but that's a trap and it's a psyop, so you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't start organic currency with someone else and make it digital, because that's a psyop, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to do that, James. So you're just working for them by pushing the idea that we could have a digital barter economy that sidesteps the petrodollar. And so there are people you will find to compassionate. You can go there and go, yeah, I could see how you'd be worried about that. The blockchain, it's got the word chain in it. It's got, oh, look at all the other things that are happening. And if you needed to feel that way, if you wanted to feel scared, if you wanted your polyvagal to regulate in a certain way, you would be able to outline exactly how evil and diabolical this plan is. And while you're doing that, you're telling two people that wanted to create a barter system that just ran digitally, you're telling them that they are working for the man, and you're discouraging their thermodynamic torque. You're shitting on that. You're saying you guys suck. You're helping to create this. I'm not saying that you have to say you guys suck. I'm not. I'm telling you that no matter how nice you are, no matter how eloquent your words are, when you tell QAnon people that it's a psyop, they're going to feel like that. And from my evolution, I understand why Amazing Polly has to freak the fuck out when you tell her that this isn't real. Because the sheer terror of embracing the idea that it's not a deep state that has a problem, it's not a tumor inside the skin, it's the entire creature itself, that would literally terrify many people, and that their polyvagus would squeeze, and every organ, including their neck, even their neck, would clench up. Their heart would literally be squeezed, their lungs would be squeezed, their esophagus. That tension would cause that to squeeze, because it knows that if it squeezes hard enough, the system will secrete melanin and block out what's too bright to see. And it blocks it out and says it's the deep state. It's not the state, it's the deep state. The state is good. Inside the state is a tumor that's bad. And you trying to say that the entire thing is bad, you are hurting me. And she'd be right. She'd be right. That'd be assault. She would feel that. She would block me, whatever. That would be a natural reaction to the vasoconstriction that occurs there. Same thing with creating a barter system that works digitally. That me and Johnny could create a coin that no one else has ever heard of, that Kissinger didn't touch, that no one else got to name, and that we could set it up and pick what we think is the mythological creature that we could name it after that would cause the least amount of people to freak out. Well, you called it the Minotaur. Oh, just a one shot. It could be called the Super Happy Time Go Time coin. And we could cover it with rainbow farts and sprinkle colors. And we could do all that. And if we could do that just right, then the person would not think that's a psyop. And do you know what we just invented? Advertising. Pop music. People magazine. That's what that is. It's the attempt to appeal to everyone who would think that it's a psyop and tell them it's not. It is. It's not a psyop as you traditionally think about. But when you're on that level where you're looking at People magazine, where you're like, oh, the Queen had a bat boy. Gosh, I wonder if that's true. Is that true? And then the person next to you is like, well, of course it's true. It's printed. It's like, yeah, I guess so. But man, I'm starting to think maybe these national choirs are kind of like stretching the truth a little bit. Well, think about it. If they were stretching the truth, then the Queen would just sue them. And she's not suing them, is she? And they're like, oh my God, you're right. Holy shit, the Queen's got a bat boy. And while all that's happening, the Queen actually could have a bat boy. She totally could. She could have made love and had a bat boy. All that's still possible, right? See, one does not discount the other. The trucker thing could have been started as a psyop the whole time. It could have been. And not only could have been, but enough organic people could have gotten on board with it where they could have changed the trajectory of that psyop. That could have happened too. And the people that initially planned the psyop could have actually known that the organic people were going to come in and change the trajectory of that psyop too. And the people that planned that initially, we don't actually yet know were their intentions honorable or not. Were they hacking the system because they liked the system, or were they hacking the system because they didn't like it? Here's my point, ladies and gentlemen. Who cares? Hacking the system makes it better. So if the person hacking the system has an ill intent, does that mean that they're not making the system better? The thermodynamic equation shows you that regardless of what your intentions are, you're going to hack the system. The thermodynamic equation tells you the hacking of the system makes the system better. It improves it. There is a comfort that comes from pretending that the controllers control everything. There's a comfort that comes from thinking that the politician that you see is literally in charge of everyone and can push a button and make you think whatever you want. There's a comfort that comes from that because you get to come to Twitter and bitch about how fucked up everything is. And you get to sharpen your teeth and create your fashion by dictating how awful the system is. And others around you comfort you for your ability as a bard to paint the painting about how awful and shitty things are. And that becomes its own economy. That becomes its own social networking system. And that system was organic, and it was not actually started by the people that were planning that. It was actually started by the people that didn't like the system. The very people that we would think that we should rely on the most were the ones that created the victimhood club. The people that we want to believe in the most were the ones that are defending the system. And they do that by contributing to the thermodynamic equation, by complaining about it, but not actually doing something about it. That those are organic people that are technically on the side of fixing it, but they're the very ones in the stormtrooper masks by saying the truckers are a psyop. And it works the same with QAnon. I'm not here to tell you I've got it figured out and you don't, or they don't. I'm not. I'm here to tell you that the reason why you see a diametrical pole system, the reason why you have a bipolar party system is because when you start to compassionate, like we're talking about, it is A, confusing, B, caloric, and C, you never actually get to come out and squeeze an answer out and say, oh, here's the right thing. Here's the right thing. Why? Because it's a spiral. It's a spiral. Believe it or not, you're looking at a hermetic spiral staircase. And at every landing on this staircase, there is a chute. There's a slide. And no matter who climbs, no matter how you're playing, there's always an opportunity to land on a slide and bring yourself back down. And the chutes and ladders is an instrument of melanin and dopamine. And when the light gets too bright, you stop climbing the ladder and you put your ass on the slide and you enjoy the ride back down. And when you're back down and you start to realize, I don't like the pit, I want to climb up higher, you start to climb the ladder. And that system itself is a hermetic spiraling staircase that always has a choice. And that as you ascend or descend, both those things are thermodynamically going to be run not by an objective rational truth. It will be run by your comfort with how much you can compassionate what's happening around you. Elon Musk pisses me off like a mofo, is tweeting pro-trucker now. And people are saying, Psyop confirmed. Because Elon Musk likes the trucker movement, then it means it's a psyop and all of it's planned, and anyone who supports it is actually working for them. That's one way of looking at the system. I do not like Elon Musk because I think he lies a lot, personally. My emotional comfort level hears that and wants to agree, but I can't do that because I have too much compassion still. That I can pull my plasma out and I can compassionate that thought. But sadly, I have this whole other surplus of plasma that's at my disposal that I have to pull out and spend and look at from the other side. I say sadly because this path is not a slide down. It's a ladder up. And I'm telling you, if you want to find what group, what economic group out there climbs more ladders than anyone else, it's going to be truckers. It's going to be truckers. And they've spent most of their life ignored. And what's happening right now, I think, is about as Aquarian as you could possibly imagine. Because the wise men are being revealed. The sages can be seen in the light of the corona. And that they are moving their hermetic journey exactly like the cover of The Economist said would happen. There is a platform, a overlook. I think it's right here. Hang on. This is not a plug, it just happens to be right here. There is a hill, there's a broken ball earth, And there are millions of people who are yellow, who are marching forward. And they're not marching forward by choice. They're being led by the hermit through protest. It's protest that moves them the whole time. It's not joy. It's protest. It's vitriol. Vitriol moves people. And the hermit is showing them the way. And the hermit knows, I'm never going to be able to come up to these people and say, hey y'all, let's go have an organic revolution. Why? Because the person's going to be on their ass going, no, Elon Musk tweeted about it. I'm just going to sit here on my ass. And I'm telling you that the purpose of government is to provide apathy. Government is a salt lick for apathy, and the complaining and the psyops are not happening by force. They're happening because that's what we want. Most of us would rather complain. Most of us would rather say, hey, you guys trying to set up a barter economy that runs off digital? You guys are fucking us up. Hey, you truckers who are running this up, you guys are fucking us up. Now, that doesn't mean that the truckers is not a psyop. Guys, this is hard. You were an advanced level course. If you're listening to this, this is an advanced level course. It doesn't mean the truckers is a psyop. It doesn't mean it's not. It means that you're not going to be able to go to a grocery store and grab the answer off the shelf as you were checking out. And because of that, you are simply going to find what's the most comfortable to see. Even I am. I don't mean even like I'm above. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to tell you that that's what I'm having. That when I listen to both sides of that, I don't think I'm right. I simply see the chutes and ladders. I simply see how easy it is for us to secrete whatever answer it is we want anyway, right? Whatever answer it is that we were looking for that day is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to design this choreography to give you rational explanations as to why that's happening. But truthfully, it's a thermodynamic equation that I have. The people that are against because I happen to be more on that side right now, the people that I'm seeing on Twitter that are against it, I'm asking, what does the organic movement look like? If it's not the truckers, what does it look like? And the only person who's even bothered to answer me, and I respect them for even trying to answer, said, well, it's because of the pay. They're not getting paid right or something. And so that person was saying, well, it would mean that they would get paid. But an organic movement would never do something to be paid. They wouldn't. The Rebel Alliance doesn't get paid. They're given resources to fight, but they're not stormtroopers. And when you go underneath the planet Hoth into the ice cave, most of the equipment you're seeing in there was stolen from the Empire. It's Empire equipment. The plans of the Death Star, the plans A were stolen from the Death Star. B, the plans themselves contain the Death Star. Every single thing inside that Hoth cave is Empire property. There is no way an organic movement is ever going to be able to say, y'all, we're going to fight the British. All of us need to be wearing blue coats. All right. Tommy, that's teal. How many times do I have to tell you that, Tommy? That's teal. Take your teal ass coat home, Tommy. Come back in a blue coat or don't fight. It doesn't happen in an organic system. And when you start to unbreak that, you start to realize that's across the board. There is no moral way Think about this. This is hard. This is hard. Get ready to hit unsubscribe if you've been thinking about it. There is no moral solution, because morality, this concept of a moral solution, is a fantasy of victimhood and slavery. It's the same thing as a Bill of Rights. All of us were under the impression before the corona that there was something called a Bill of Rights. And none of us, including me, never bothered to look at Article 1, Section 9. None of us did. None of us raised our hand and said, hey, I got a question. Isn't this kind of fucked up when it says... Hang on a second, I gotta find it. I don't remember exactly what it said. There it is. Clause 2. Remember, this is 19, by the way. Article 1, Section 9. Oh, I guess I could show this to you. One of my new fancies. Yeah, there. Hey, not only good, I guess. I'm showing it to you.
Nice.
Yeah. Clause 2, habeas corpus. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended, unless when in case of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. The public safety. That the fundamental right, writ of habeas corpus, shall not be suspended, really means we get to suspend habeas corpus. We get to suspend habeas corpus whenever we can use the word public safety. That we get to do that. This doesn't say we don't get to do that. Clause 2 does not say, hey, we do not get to do this. It does not say that. It literally says we get to do this. And when we do, we're going to say it's because of public safety or rebellion. Right? That's permission to treat you like a slave. But if you didn't have enough plasma to get off your ass, you would want this to tell you that this is proof that you're not a slave. That you would look at this entire bill and say, wow, man, yeah. Man, I'm a free man, dude. I'm a fucking free man. I'm a badass. Look at this. I'm so badass that people were writing shit about me before I even got here. And they told everybody how free I am. And then I can own a gun. As long as I register it. I can go where I want, as long as I'm vaccinated. I can do what I want with my time, as long as I pay my taxes. That what you're watching is a thermodynamic equation with the self. That we have a psychological need for slavery, and I can prove it. I just did. This is a psychological need for slavery. The fact that we would tell ourselves that this means we're free. The fact that none of us would have noticed that earlier. And do you know what made us notice it? Someone hacked the system. Someone hacked the system. But it can't make us better because the person that hacked the system is evil, is what we tell ourselves. And we don't even know. We think that the person that left Building 7 was evil. I don't think that. I think the person that left Building 7 was trying to scream as loud as they could in hopes of getting the attention of some flowers out there. And that by hacking the system, you're making it better, and I don't give a shit whose side you're on. It doesn't matter to me. If someone's helping you push your car, why do you want that to stop? Why? There's a safety in complaining And there's an even deeper safety in not changing. And I would argue to you that some of the people that are bitching the most about how everything is a psyop are actually working for the system because they don't want it to change. That's my argument. Is everyone that way? No, of course not. Of course not. But that's why we need to start looking at the thermodynamic equation that's happening below the words. Below the words you're hearing, there's a thermodynamic equation. That's what you should look at. That's what you could look at. That's what you could look at. And if you're looking at it and you're tired because there's not an answer and you're just like, oh, I can't handle this, then just grab one of the slides. Sit down on the slide and write it down a little bit. Go back down a little bit until it's comfortable and try it again. That's not a shameful tactic. When your energy is less, the most patriotic, rebel thing you could do is to focus on you. Focus on your bones. Become as comfortable as you can. Because I know for a fact if you return and you have more plasma, if you're not so squeezed by your polyvagal, that you will be able to see deeper. And that when you find yourself compassionating one side, you'll suddenly look and go, oh, but I have all this extra plasma. I can't just not apply it to the other side. And now you're starting to exercise muscles. You're climbing ladders that you used to think wasn't possible before. You're seeing things for the first time, which would be something a corona could be guilty of doing. But the corona is evil, so we can't give it any credit. And the people that did Building 7 are evil, so we can't give them credit. And that anyone who's trying to start an organic barter system that works digitally is evil. We can't give that credit. It's kind of late. I'm going to stop now. Noticing some comments here. Let me correct some things. Sorry, I do not know if Rogan is vaccinated. I will tell you this, though. I don't give a shit if he's vaccinated, because if you're requiring a PCR test at the end of the building, I think that's the same as being vaccinated. However, I have to be fair and say I do not know his status. I have no idea. No idea. All I know is that if you want to get in this building, you're going to have to take a test. And that test is going to tell you whether or not you need a vaccine. I think that's retarded. I'm really having a hard time calling him a champion. But I'm working on it. And the more plasma I find, the more I will apply it to this thermodynamic equation and do the math and figure out what is the end result of this. Is the spine taller or is the spine hunched over after listening to him? Is your spine taller after watching the truckers, or is it hunched over? Right? I don't know. I don't think that the pyroelectric nature of this reality is basically when electricity hits you, your hairs stand up. We are follicles. And if electricity hits you, you will stand up. And if it doesn't, it won't. And I can't be the one that's saying you suck because you won't, or you suck because you will. Right? But I tell you that I keep seeing over and over and over and over again exposure, the Olympic ceremony. Thank you, iPet Goat 2, Building 7, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, Apollo program, landing on the moon, nuclear weapons. All of these things, Wayne L. Sexton, all of these things, if thermodynamically you want to feel like a slave, you're going to look for opportunities where a force is so powerful that it controls even the things that seem like they're good. And that serves you. As much as someone who's so focused on trying to find ladders up will take the worst possible thing that someone's doing to you and explaining how this is good, right? That neither one of those are better or less. Neither one of those are even right or wrong. You get to decide. You get to unsubscribe, or you get to say, that's fucking interesting. Don't agree with you, but that's fucking interesting. And when you have that interest, you're piloelectrically taller, which means that your antenna is literally gathering more electricity from the air. And when you have more electricity from the air, I know for a fact that you will end up with more plasma, which will make you compassionate more. You could have so much compassion where you were now able to truly see who and what James does and what his thermodynamic equation is, and to suddenly decide, this guy is not helping. And that would be just as fair as what I'm saying about the truckers right now. I don't know. I'm simply trying to get us all to pay attention to the thermodynamics of this event. I'm not here to tell you one's right or wrong. I think it's kind of weird that how many of the people that are showing up to these things have a state flag, right? Like, why is the flag not upside down? That's how I feel. But it doesn't mean that I can, like, say, well, this whole thing sucks because they didn't turn their flags upside down. They should have had their flags upside down. Yeah. No one should be listening to anyone who's pushing a PCR test to get in the building. Yeah, I think that too, right? But thermodynamically, what is the result of that? Right? Thermodynamically, what's happening? And yeah, there's this weird thing with, it's not even weird, I think. It's just happening. But GoFundMe, right? The GoFundMe money that was raised for the truckers. There's some people are saying it's a psyop because the truckers aren't being paid, and other people are saying it's a psyop because the truckers are being paid. You're just watching the thermodynamics of whoever wants to finish, right? Eric, this is so frustrating. Just tell me what to think. Yeah. Yeah, it's just more plasma, my friends. But I will tell you, I think that since I've been born, no one's fully understood where the sages are. And I'm having a hard time believing that all these sages would be doing this for... it's not even a hard time. Because the fact is that if it feels good, there's probably truckers that aren't sages at all. They're just like, oh, who knows, right? It's you would hope for it to be real, for it to be organic. It would have to be a fractal spectrum of everything, right? Like everything. Like there's probably a meth dude who's probably in the convoy, right? It's just like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going, right? That could be. There's probably someone who's like really patriotic about the state. There's probably someone who's beyond the state that sees past it. There's probably someone that's anti-vax. There's probably someone that's anti-mandate but pro-vax. All of that would be the truth of what an organic system would look like. I think that we could make it more expensive for people to be victims right now. I think they is us getting off on the ability to sit on our ass. And that when you're on your ass and an organic wave comes by, the cheapest way you could stay on your ass is to say, oh, thank God Elon Musk tweeted about it. That means it's a psyop. Oh, thank God. I did not want to think all this was positive. Oh, I do not have the clarity for that, right? That's the thermodynamic equation. And I can't tell you if you're right or wrong. I can tell you I got a super chat when I said that. Thank you, Rachel. Good to see you. Thank you, all of them. I got a lot of super chats in. That's great. Alex, thank you. Carrots laying aside, raising his arm while saying, how's it going? Spectral, thank you. Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Don't have an answer for you. I only have an exercise in plasma. Let's see. See if there's anything else here. There's a magic in turning men into proud berserkers into a party feel when you tap into it. You can never fall this low in frequency again. Great show. You appreciate... These are just... Sorry. I should probably put this up on the screen. I was looking for Yeah, that's enough. Okay, so question reality, great point. Look up mandate in Black's Law Dictionary. It merely means a two-party agreement. So that's a perfect example. The truckers are fighting to end vax mandates. Well, mandate's not even real. There's no law. So they're ending to say you can't say that, which means they're reinforcing the idea that all it would take is a leader to say, well, I mandated this and now it's a law. That is a very accurate, perceptive, intelligent, awake way of looking at it. I'm not here to say that that's not. That's legit. I got respect for that, man. I do. And I want that person in my tent. I don't need them to think exactly how I think on that. We don't all need to agree to subscribe to each other, right? That it's a healthy debate to have question reality in here saying stuff like that. Thank you, sir. That's excellent. Victims is the ultimate negative spell that toddlers learn. We overcome it or succumb to it. All this society is a result of negligent parenting. It's really well said. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Tune in to Dojo Worth Radio. You can subscribe to that channel. We've been streaming sometimes every night. Could be that one night we won't stream. I think we're going to be streaming tonight, though. I got a lot of people watching. Wow. It's 268 people watching. I thought all these... I was like, oh, God, I'm back on the shit list now where people are unsubscribing because I had the nerve to say what I thought about something. But no, that's a record. We haven't had that number in a long time. That's great. I want to put the Dojo Work channel in here, though. Someone's going to do that. Check the chat, and you'll see that. And you can see what they think about that. I got to go, actually. We have a dojo. We have a dojo at 12:30. I got to go. I just realized that. Today's dojo day. If you don't know what dojo is, it's plasma exercises just like this. If you'd like to participate, you can. If not, you don't have to. Right? It's not a mandate. I'm not mandating that you come to the dojo. I'm not mandating that you join the actually, I kind of am. Really, the definition of mandate would be, I'm mandating you to become a Patreon right now. I'm mandating you all to press their thumbs up. I'm mandating you all to share this video. You know, hey, we'll try it. We'll see what happens. Because thermodynamically, what's the end result, right? What is the end result of that? So yeah, it's a mandate, bitches. Yeah, I just mandated you. There you go. I am so bummed to say that because I couldn't, for whatever reason, couldn't get music to work here, I can't play the horse video right now. I can't. I'm so sorry. I'm going to see if I can get it on here, but this is another exercise, guys. You're going to have to picture the horse girl right now. You have to picture her. All right? But you get to change it. Put you in there. All right? Put you in there and see. I'd also like to send some love out to Rose. If you guys know, then you know what's going on. But yeah, love to Rose. If anyone wants to type a rose in the chat, that would be your symbol of solidarity there for her. Love you much, Rose. And yeah, let's play her a song right now. Bye, guys. See you in dojo. I'm gonna try and get this video up.